mute all of this. Oh my God, why was everything muted? I do not know why, but it is all working. Welcome back to Scarcely Relevant. I am Scarcely Relevant, and breaking news as we go live, which is fantastic. Thank you to Mr. Jez Gordon for posting this into the Xbox 2 Discord as I go live. Jez Gordon with what's going on with Microsoft's id Software. Rumors of the Doom Studios' demise are being wildly exaggerated. Here's what we know. Published by the good sir. And here we go. We are going to throw this into the chat for everybody to read along with at home. So welcome back. Was going to stream earlier this week. And yeah, just sorry, just it's a bit weird. I'm not kind of ever a breaking news sort of person, but this is kind of interesting news. So before we jump into the articles, because seriously, it was just published. It just came up in a Discord posting from Jez in the Xbox 2 Discord. Best Discord to join if you want to join a great Discord. That is the best one. We'll bring myself over to here. Oh no, actually, let's throw it back into the camera. So he's just posted this. I don't know anything involving id, but with this arm is just slowly falling away. Need to get better equipment. Let's just throw it here. So with id Software and the layoffs that happened, I think I spoke about this on Tuesday. My belief, now this is just my belief, I don't have any insider knowledge of id Software or anything else, but with the roles and everything else that were kind of reduced, a lot of it wasn't or didn't seem to be the Frankfurt id Tech studio, which was led by Tiago Souza. But it seemed to be some of the, or quite a few of the roles at id Software in Dallas. My initial thought or read on it was that the roles that were lost there were probably because they just finished the DLC for Doom: The Dark Ages, and from there it was basically a case that they didn't have another project to roll into. So if you've got a full almost 300-person studio and they don't have anything to work on, normally you would just take those people and send them off to another studio and be like, hey, work with these people. They've got something to work on while your creative team builds up your next pitch. Problem being is, if you're id and you're familiar with your own tools and technology from id Tech, then there is a very high risk that, okay, what happens from there? Because you're not familiar with Unreal, you're not familiar with Forza Tech, you're not familiar with any of these sorts of things. So I was thinking that it's probably downsizing to lessen the studio cost while they're then developing their next idea. And then they would obviously, once they've got something that is theirs, then they would work on it. So let's jump into the article. I'm not going to read it word for word because I think everybody should be going to this link in the chat and actually reading the article, giving it a comment and subscribe and everything else, which is what I am going to do while doing this. If the comment stuff will actually load. Jez, fix your shit. All right, let's get this. All right, so we're just going from here. Okay. Is it the side? All right. Okay, so obviously Jess's comment: Xbox cuts over the past week have been brutal. Let's not mince words here. It's damn right. Um, okay, so there are a ton of stories coming out about what the fate of Xbox's remaining studios might be. A lot of the discourse has fallen on id Software right now, the beloved makers of Doom. Um, Cuts at id Software have been heavy and painful. Some have claimed the studio's lauded id Tech engine is effectively on ice. I've been investigating Microsoft's plans for id. Despite the callousness of Microsoft's being counters, I'm confident the studio will endure. Doom and the other id Software games powered by id Tech, everything else, different feel to Unreal Engine, optimization, lower end hardware stacks, general versatility. That's always been a John Carmack staple, which is fantastic. But when you don't have like it helps. But if you really consider where id Tech got its real power, its real name was id Tech 2 and 3. So we're talking the Quake 2 engine, the Quake 3 engine, uh, and then from there, everything kind of really branched off. There was a time where the Quake 3 engine and Unreal Engine were back and forth as to what you would use. Not so much anymore, because there then became complexities, and the particular style of game, the engine wasn't as malleable to other types of games because it was really built around single point of view. Large worlds became a different element. Um, I'm told Microsoft has no plans to shift either studio forcibly to Unreal Engine for id Software or machine games. Microsoft provided us a statement on the topic. There are dozens of people working on tech across multiple locations. Report that there is only one person left in Texas are inaccurate. That is true. If there was one person left in Texas, then it would either be Marty Stratton or Hugo Martin. And as far as been listed, neither of those two gentlemen have been let go. Obviously, the WARN notices came out, which tend to cover, okay, these people are being let go, these are the positions being lost, and everything else. In my view, Microsoft would have been miserably short-sighted to depreciate id Tech. Handing even more power to Unreal Engine opens them up to monopolistic price increases down the road. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma herself said in the memo to staff that she wants Microsoft to rely less on vendors for things like this. I would argue that Microsoft should invest more in id Tech, not less. Quarterly thinking, it seems to be the MO. Yeah, I think Jez is dead on for that. Those vendor costs, though, are they're a part of running business. And yes, they're a big cost, but there are ways to mitigate that and work around it. But that's also like how you navigate the world. The other rumor flying around is that id Software has shrunk to a headcount that is unattainable for future self-made products, relegating them to support studio status. While the cuts have been alarmingly callous, my understanding is that the remaining id Software core team is roughly the same as it was when Doom 2016 shipped. And yeah, off memory, it is pretty damn close. I think if not above or a little bit below that. But that's the thing. Larger studios, more artists, more people tend to then mean that you can fall into a trap with some, like, I think even manufacturing, like my realm, or design or electronics or anything else, is that when you have larger teams, you're then trying to push towards, well, we need people to work on things. We need stuff for people to do. We need the art to be better. We need to do more things. We need to expand. But this kind of core stuff of, say, 15 artists could do the work. If you throw 25 artists at it, are you doing it quicker, or are you then placing more of a glut of skill into that one area to then try to enhance it? Are you making better art, or are you making faster art? Are you taking the level of quality and spreading it across people so that it's done faster? Or are you then going, well, it's the work of 15 people being given to 25, we should then increase the quality of that art. We need to do better. We need to look like we're spending more money. And you do, because you are. And that can kind of be like a managerial, like an oversight thing of, we have a pedigree. We have to be the best running game. We have to be the best looking game. And this, I think, is where some of the kind of cuts and everything else have come in. Still, I'm not sure, from Jez again, still, I'm not sure exactly what id Software could have made next. There had been reports that id Software had a variety of pitches in the pipeline, and there is another article, which I will also post into the chat, which will kind of run along here as well, because I think that okay, so described as a bloodbath by one former dead, the cuts have seemingly made it extremely unlikely that id's ideas for non-Doom projects. A new report from GamesBeat, though, gives insight to what some of these concepts were. Apart from multiplayer-focused Doom game with co-op, the studio was also considering a game heavily inspired by the John Wick films called Fury, a new entry in the Perfect Dark series, and a survival-focused Western game with robots called Ironwood. Now, Fury was a new original property pitched by id Software studio co-director and game director Hugo Martin, with elements of sci-fi, noir, and Louisiana and Chicago gangsters, and a modern cyberpunk-like feel. It had gung fu gameplay style that blended gameplay with martial arts melee, intended to feel like a playable John Wick movie. It was never greenlit. That's always the thing. Even if you're an established studio, a new IP is very hard to pitch. Allegedly, id was also exploring the possibility of making a Perfect Dark game. Id considered doing so, and reportedly even had concept art drafted. That's good steps. Like that's working through things. There's Ironwood. Very little is known about it, other than it would be set in a Western environment with robots and survival gameplay. Thought to be very similar to the HBO TV show Westworld. There were and are no plans for a new Quake. Now, here's the thing. If that's what's being reported, that these were pitches, these were being done, if they didn't stand up, these sorts of projects would have been percolating and developing in the background during particular times where everything was rolling through. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Yep. Awesome. So there's 3 pitches there, and none of them got picked up. That sucks, but all of these pitches and ideas would have been developed and at least kind of, in a sense, prototyped, or maybe some key art. Like, what are we going to do here? How would we do it? What would be our point and purpose for it? If they didn't get up, then if you don't have another project after your already established projects are kind of set and ready, if you're not at a point where you can bring artists into it, there's bigger risks that come with it, because you're then burning studio money to keep people employed where there isn't something active for them to work on. Not every modeler or artist is able to develop and create assets for you if you don't have something for them to be able to create. And that is a really, it can seem very callous, but it is a reality when it comes to larger development studios or manufacturing process. Once one thing is done, you have to have the next thing ready. Like, if you've got somebody who's on a bench welding something and they weld all of those things, you best have the next thing for them to work on, because if they're standing around going, okay, I've finished that, what's next? But there's nothing for them to go on to, then you're paying them to stand around and just kind of be like, well, I'm a welder, I weld things. Where's the next thing to weld? It is also the same in games development. It's the same in any business. if you don't have those things to kind of roll through, it can then start to be a very expensive venture, especially in a creative world. There's constantly that push, that grind towards, well, what's the next creative thing? Like, what are we going to be animating? What are we going to be working on? The animators can't animate or set animation or bodies or rigging until they know what the characters look like in concept. They can't do that until the concept artist has come up with the concepts that's come from the creative director saying, I want this guy to be 6'7" and have like thin shoulders and be very lanky. Like how thin, how long are their limbs? Like all of these things, it is always the run of questions. Um, pardon me. And that burns through money at a rate that is scary. If you consider, okay, let's just, I know people don't like it, but the old napkin math I find is always a good idea to just consider. All right, so rough equivalent, say $95,000 per staff member at id Software. So you've got $95,000 per person per year times 280 staff. You are looking at a burn rate of $26.6 million. Now, obviously, some people are going to be earning a lot more than 95K. Studio directors, creative directors, leads, technical directors, everything else. You're also going to have QA staff who will probably not make a 95K USD. But if you consider it, that's $30 million in a year in just people cost. Now, are you making $30 million worth of content during that year? Even if not, even if it's only a 6 months kind of spin up period, that's still money that you're spending, but you're not actually progressing your work towards the end goal. And that, I think, is kind of like a very rough reality of it. So back to Jez's article. Obviously, the pitches, there were reports of the pitches. They did just ship Dark Ages Revelations, the story expansion. What the studio builds next remains to be seen, but Xbox CEO Asher Sharma specifically called out Doom and Quake as franchises to invest in. Microsoft wants to grow its staple of recognizable IP, which is at least in the near term, likely excludes new franchise ideas. I'd still like to see what a modern Hexen would look like. I actually think modern Hexen is pretty much what they did in Doom the Dark Ages. It has that slower kind of like very tanky feel to it. It feels like the Crusader or the Crusader or the Warrior in Hexen, which, yeah, I still remember playing that. It was like fun, but at the same time, it's very chunky game compared to Doom. But chunky can be good. Okay, so with the continuing element, yeah, staffers with decades of experience tenure will let go. That is just a reality. You'd like, uh, there's nothing to say to it. Like, what do you do? It is just the way it is. Now, obviously, with the layoffs and everything else, it is the case of it isn't as completely blown to the the 7 ages. It still exists. They're back to a core team, and considering that core team is pretty much staffed by the people who, in a sense, I would imagine were the people that were chosen by the studio head and directors to really just go, okay, we want to build towards a new idea, whether it's going to be a new Wolfenstein, a new Quake, a new Doom. I hope it's not a new Doom, honestly. I would appreciate just if they went with something out there. like there's not as many franchises for id that they developed, that they worked on, but there's some there. Like, okay, Quake would be good, especially, although, like, to a degree, I haven't played it, but friends who did said that Dark Ages had some very kind of like mysterious Cthulhu-esque cosmic horror aspects added to it, and that can be good, and that's something that Doom did very well. Maybe they could, you know, go into Doom or go into Quake using that aspect as a jumping off point. But it, it's a to be seen. There's word that maybe even potentially they work on Wolfenstein with Machine Games. That I think would work quite well. Like those uh like Machine Games understand that story and that crafting, and id Software are fantastic at really getting that feel right for it, when even when the gameplay combat systems have that chunkiness or that feel. Do they need to be fast? Do they need to be deadly? Does it need to feel visceral? They know that feel. Like good, fucking amazing combat elements that they do. Pardon me. Mishkin, welcome. Yes, sad day for id Software and many other studios. Well, yeah, it's one of those aspects of uh like the I actually close it, but it's the other part to the or the other side to this discussion that everybody going, id Software is now dead, and it's like, no, they're still very much alive. Um, just scaled back. Reporting that I just ran through was talking about the fact that the studio is about the size it was when it did Doom 2016. Obviously you don't want to lose a whole bunch of people, but that's a good agile studio size to be able to work and go, okay, what's next for us? What are we going to build towards? Um, Obviously, the reporting about Obsidian Software losing 25% of their staff, including, people who've been there long term, art directors, and so on and so forth. Um, that's terrible. But then immediately reporting comes out that the Fallout studio, I kind of Mishkin in the Twitch chat. I kind of miss the DS Wii era, shovelware days. So many developers and games. I think that still kind of exists in today, but it feels like the shovelware is kind of aimed towards a specific market, which is more lucrative than the ways it used to be. Is that a lot of those shovelware games, like people would consider the old Xbox Live arcade days of 360, that those oh yes, from Michigan as well in the Twitch chat, PS just removed a lot of them from PSN, I believe. Yeah, they specifically targeted some of the developers who will release copies of games where it's a PS3, PS4, PS5, PS Vita, um, like a cross purchase game where the game can be played in a period of like 10, 15 minutes, and you can get uh, all of the trophies, including a platinum trophy, and marketing these games at like $3 or $4 each. They were making a good profit on these small little kind of simple games that they were able to pitch, pull together, build, use small teams, like handful of developers with simple ideas for gameplay to just get them out, put them into the market, and like serve a particular niche. And I respect that, because one aspect that doesn't really get discussed is that the developers and the people who are making those games, same as the what you would call the AI slopware of today. Everybody's trying to get an idea made, but you only ever get to make a game at the level of a Dredge, or a level of a State of Decay, or Abyssus, or Neon Abyss, or sorry, Lunar Abyss. you only get to make those when you start making kind of simple, easy things where you can just build out. You have to start somewhere. And those games and those elements are a really good, like, small little niche market that you can fill, that you can actually make a little bit of money and build up your skill and time and ability to then go on to the next thing. And that's the way it used to be. But nowadays, the market is saturated. Like I like even just oh, I don't even know if I've got Steam on this. THQ, the S tier of shovelware. The industry's changed when the original THQ folded. UDraw was ground zero for the fall of publishers and developers. Absolutely. Actually, on that, if you ever get the opportunity, um, Jason Rubin, the co-founder, with Andy McNamara of Naughty Dog, when he and Andy sold Naughty Dog to Sony, they stayed around for a particular period of time. I think it was during the development of the 3 Jack and Daxter games, and they'd already started work on Uncharted, and that's when Jason stepped away. One of the things that he did was THQ had actually fallen on hard times, and he and someone else actually stepped forward and were like, well, like, THQ have such a history. We know people at Volition and all of these great developers and IPs and everything. Let's go in there. And Saints Row, yeah, Saints Row with Volition. Like, the first Saints Row was a bit too gangstery, but it had like that initial sense of humor. Like, they got it. They got what was fun. They understood the catharsis, and that if you could have goofy fun with it, you could absolutely make a fantastic series. Saints Row 2, I think, is still the pinnacle of the Saints Row games, but that's just me, obviously. A lot of people go Saints Row 3 is the best, Saints Row 4 best. Saints Row being one of the reasons for the 360's dominance early on in that gen. Yeah, because, like, unfortunately, I don't have it. Ooh, do I? Hold on. I might. Let's do some exploration here, because yes, it wasn't on the PlayStation, but let's have a look. Saints Row Xbox 360 back compat, because today you have no evidence to back this up. Maybe not, but still. Backward compatible game. Saints Row is backwards compatible on the Xbox series. Xbox 360 version is back compat on the series. So let's have a look at this. Let's go there. Because here's the fun thing that we're going to be doing today. Normally I'd be playing some Diablo, but because of the Sony news and the fact that they don't want to do physical anymore, today I'm going to be playing my disc copy of the original Xbox OG title, Hunt of the Reckoning, because fuck Sony. So that's what we'll be doing today. But let's see. Because I don't believe I have a copy of the original Saints Row on disc. But let's have a look, because all right. No, it does not seem that it is digitally purchasable. We got Saints Row. Yeah, we've got, yeah, remastered. I own Chrome Hounds. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Because, yeah, it looks like mostly everything else is there, but Saints Saints Row. Hold on. I'm just thinking. I've got a lot of 360 titles there. It's like I would be shocked. I could possibly have it. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to hit the be right back button and I'm going to go see if I've got a copy in the drawers. And we have returned. Chromehounds, yes, was exclusive and done from Software. Now, I do not have a copy of Saints Row OG for the 360, but I did find my copy of Saints Row 2 for the 360. So that is here. So that could be something. Jump back into the original Saints Row 2. Um, actually, I think as well from memory, From Software also did a Togi. I think it was the game Atogi. Xbox. Yes, Atogi Myth of Demons. Which was done as a exclusive for the Xbox. I believe the original Atogi Myth of Demons. 2002 action role-playing game developed by From Software and published by Sega. It was released for the Xbox in Japan. It was followed by the sequel Atogi 2 Immortal Warriors. It was only released on the Xbox and published by Sega. Atogi 2, again, the same. Only ever released for the Xbox, published by Sega. So it was, the publishers in Japan were From Software, but in North America and Europe, it was published by Sega. Same with the, original Atogi Myth of Demons. That is also why, to a degree, like, it seems to be in the way a lot of people do things, that if, best thing to do, slag off Phil Spencer for everything that he did, breaking Xbox. You will not hear that from me, because the director of the Atogi games, Rintaro Yamada, and for Atogi 2, it was Masanori Takeuchi. But even at that point, From Software was basically being headed up by Hidetaka Miyazaki, because these games were, like, From Software in and of itself. Jesus, cat. Like, to my knowledge, I believe, like, in the 2010s, Hidetaka Miyazaki then became the company president and everything. But prior to that, he was one of the main producers. So he was helping the directors and teams in kind of like finding their skill set. When Xbox came to them, there was kind of good relationships in a sense, because they pitched this game and went, yeah, we'll take this. But they didn't set the boundaries on a lot of the studios that they worked with about, oh, it has to be published by us or this or that. Yeah, from Michigan in the Twitch chat, strong early Xbox relationships. That's also why you will never hear a lot of the people who initially kind of got a lot of success from Xbox, like Todd Howard. Like, everybody goes, oh, well, people being let go from Bethesda Game Studios and ZeniMax and everything else. Todd Howard should leave. What are they going to do if he leaves? And it's like, Todd Howard was also working on like Redguard, the Elder Scrolls Redguard, which a lot of people don't realize. He did that. He was the director on that, and it did not do well. And ZeniMax was not in a good place. When they were working on Morrowind, they restructured the entirety of Bethesda Game Studios to then become Bethesda Game Studios then became a subsidiary under ZeniMax Media Group, so that there would be some protection, and it would allow them to then seek outside capital to be able to help keep the studio rolling and moving through. That then also bought them the time and money to be able to make the Elder Scrolls Morrowind. While they were developing Morrowind, Xbox came to them and went, this would be really great. We'd love it for our console. They obviously went, well, it's a it's a really strong, really strong PC styled RPG. Are you sure you want this? And they're like, yeah, they actually put the time and money and effort into it. And Morrowind is I think, and this is from Todd Howard's own mouth. I believe it was um, in the sit down chat with Phil Spencer, Larry Herb, Todd Howard, and Pete Hines from. Oh yes, and the dogs are here. um, during the roundtable discussion they had when Bethesda was announced to have been that they were starting the acquisition for ZeniMax Media, that Todd Howard stated that Morrowind was the best-selling game on Xbox behind Halo 1 and Halo 2. At the launch, just after the launch, before Halo 2, the top two games for Xbox on their console for copies sold was number one was Halo, and number two was The Elder Scrolls Morrowind. That, in a sense, considering Morrowind only ever released on the PC and on the Xbox, consider how many copies of Halo sold. And then you've got games like Project Gotham Racing. You've got Jet Set Radio Future. Those games sold millions of copies. But how many between like some of those and Halo, and you've got Morrowind in there? That would have made them an absolute mozza. So a Morrowind remake would have gone well. I think. See, here's the thing. I can actually do this while I stream. I've got enough bandwidth, I think. I know I've got it here. Yeah, there it is. Install. I've actually got I've been playing Morrowind more recently. Don't forget Saints Row. I know. Saints Row did incredibly well as well. Like that's the entire reason Volition became as big as they did, was Saints Row for the 360. Like, and a lot of those initial investments where it's a first time IP or it's a first time to the style of console IP, those games end up, if they hit and they hit big, there's so much pull through for what happens that you could potentially it can make a studio into a point position where they're able to compete. Like consider everything. Expedition 33, like a pretty modest budget, a Game Pass deal, and a good publisher willing to give them time, but a very restricted, very narrow scope, exactly what it needed to be game, can deliver success. And Michigan's right in the Twitch chat. It was the GTA competitor for Xbox, which was pretty significant. And on top of that, it was late in the Xbox OG era that there was a port of GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas that was released for the OG Xbox as a 3-in-1 bundle. That bundle didn't end up becoming backwards compatible on the 360, but it was still quite a few years after that, because I think, here we go, Coda. Sorry. These dogs have me wrapped around their little finger. I'm actually thinking, when was GTA 4 released? 2008. So if you consider it, Saints Row, like as much as GTA finally had a foothold on the Xbox consoles, they didn't, like, it didn't roll through to the 360. Saints Row got in there, and I believe Saints Row 2 was actually Saints Row 2 was in 2008 as well. So looking at the release dates here, Saints Row 2 was PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, October 14th, North America in 2008. Grand Theft Auto 4 was PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in the 29th of April 2008. So you're looking at about 6 months between GTA 4 coming out and everybody going, oh my God. But you had no online, you had no persistent world element like the GTA Onlines of today that then created that flow on effect and keeping people engaged in it. But then Saints Row 2 comes out, and so the game had sold about 400,000 units by November of 2008. So 1 month, close to 500,000 units, and 3.4 million units by September 2010. And then even looking at there's Saints Row 2. I wonder if there's actually any. Let's have a look here. Oh, and Saints Row 1 was August 29, 2006, with the Australian release. The Australian release was 2 days later, on September 1st, as well as the European release. So I know you, good sir, understands the difference between an Australian release and a worldwide release. Saints Row received generally positive reviews, many critics favorably comparing it to the GTA series. It also did well financially, selling over 1 million copies by the end of 2006. The game's success launched the Saints Row franchise. So it launched in August of 2006 and had sold 1 million copies by the end of 2006. So you're looking at about 3 months, August, September, October, November, December, 4 months. 4 months selling 1 million copies in 2006. That is, that's impressive. And that also kind of like pulls together and shows that strength. But to a degree, when you're coming to a brand new IP, it's almost that question right now that do you go with one platform or another platform or anything else? How do you differentiate yourself in a market? Because interesting in a sense, Chromehounds being exclusive and being from software, it was a way of them being able to do the Armored Core series without having the because I think Armored Core by that point was Armored Core, because I cannot remember whether it precedes. No, yeah, it definitely precedes. So Armored Core was released in 1997, and it had generally been it was always on PlayStation up until the 360 era. Which I think was Armored Core 2. That was only PlayStation. Armored Core 3, PlayStation only. Armored Core 4 in 2006. It was Armored Core 4 in 2006 was when it finally came to Xbox. So I imagine that the Chromehounds, which was for the 2006. So that would have been their way of being able to do their own title of Chromehound or of Armored Core without breaking what initially looks to be that there was that particular agreement. It's actually interesting though, like in terms of the game itself and in its development. Miyazaki is not involved with it. He's not even listed as a producer on the title. Huh. Very interesting. Because it's almost with so many games, but there's also so many there's also particular titles where he was listed and being like, oh no, this person is the this is the only person who's kind of led this element. But a lot of the time, it's not about having your key director. You can't have a director working on every single game. Actually, I think it's one of the issues that kind of exists with, for all that he is, Todd Howard, Mr. Todd Howard. You can't have everybody waiting on one person to direct and run a title. You have to really let people cook. But it seems that doesn't always happen that way, which is in a sense strange. You're never going to get people being able to step up into a role without giving those opportunities. And I think the news of Obsidian losing, being stopped on the production for Avowed 2, apparently. Chris Avallone came out and said that he had heard that Avowed 2, which was being worked on, is now being put to the side, and that Josh Sawyer is leading and directing a team who will be working on a Fallout title. And that is what Obsidian will be working on, and they'll be working with Bethesda Game Studios on this. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, but Todd Howard always said that he wants to do Fallout. Like, no, we don't need to do another spin-off. But that's also him with the ability to say to somebody, no, I want to work on the next Fallout 5. Like Fallout 5, I want to do that after Elder Scrolls. But if you are taking longer and longer, let's just be brutally honest. If you are taking longer and longer for titles because it is more and more complicated, you have to be able, you have to let the toys out of the toy box and see what other people are going to do with it. The reason that Skyrim changed so much from Oblivion is because open world games hadn't really kind of pushed themselves, and the idea that was initially kind of pushed for was see it and you can walk there. From Michigan, purely from the acquisition race point of view, so lucky Capcom and Square didn't get purchased. Imagine if the Final Fantasy team got let go. I would not be sad if Tetsuya Nomura was let go, but that's just me. Like, I have a great deal of respect for the guy, but his drive and position on how he sees the world always kind of I don't mean to slag on the guy. I'm sure he's lovely and everything else. But in a sense, the Final Fantasy games that I connected with were a lot of the earlier titles before he became part of it. I don't connect with his version of how these games should play. Modernizing absolutely needs to happen, and I think Capcom today is definitely proving that if you can take a honored and amazing. Oh, wait. Fuck, that sounds cool. Remake FF8. I think they should, but I'm surprised that they haven't kind of stepped up into doing these things. Oh, Bink Video. Remember the days where we actually had it's all of the splash screens that you'd generally be waiting for while the game runs through. Yeah, White Wolf Publishing. Apparently the remake of FF9 is first. Okay. I'd be interested. I never got to play Final Fantasy 9 when it came out, and just it's one of those games that, you never got into. Like, if you didn't play it when it came out, then is what it is. The classic 2000s kind of demonic stuff. vampires and everything else. Oh, I love it. Stock footage everywhere. All right. We're going to go past all of that. WWE Raw for a second. Yeah. Alternate hunting modes and nightmare nodes. I haven't unlocked anything in this. We're just going, honestly, for straight brand new game. So, Avenger, Defender, Judge, and Martyr. Remember, the Judge always been pretty good, but I'm gonna go the Avenger. Why not? Oh, yes. It's in-game cinematics with no voiceover because they couldn't afford these things. And I'm still amazed at how crisp this looks because they've done the updated, like this is rendered at 4K. Ah, oh, kids. That's all right. The truth is revealed. There it all stands in its unholy glory. Evil personified and presented for hideous edification. Yeah, I should have kind of prepared and just done like deep voice VO for all of this. Monsters exist. Oh, wow. Like, yeah, Jesus. We're skipping past all of this. We are just jumping into the game. Now, here's the great thing. Physical copy of the game thrown into an Xbox Series X, and it fucking runs. This is what should be happening. Like, for every aspect of it, I can absolutely respect and understand everybody who is positioning themselves against what Sony's decision was. There's a particular reality about how everything is currently being spoken about. The reality of disc production is more a case of spending money on stock that then oh no, I forgot. This is the days of full-on fucking tutorials. Interactive with the world. Yes, okay. There we go. Oof, the controls. The controls are not good. Oh, wow. Don't even have the gun yet. The zoom the camera in and out. Oh, awesome. X to scroll through the weapons. I still can't believe that there's a fucking... I still cannot believe that there's an actual jump button. That's surprising. I forgot that that they actually asked for people to jump in this. Thanks for the hand. Didn't know how much good it did though. Those wires. Yeah, I don't think I've got the wherewithal to kind of do the VO for some of these old games. The dialogue is pretty terrible. But for the Sony issue, it's I have every bit of respect in the world for everybody out there who is saying that they do not agree physical should exist. Because yeah, I think when it comes to a marketplace, any purchasing decisions, there should always be an element that is the consumer can choose. The consumer choice isn't just about what marketplace you go to, but it has to be around that the platform or the marketplace has to serve how the customers wish to engage with their content. Now, like we can consider and go, well, um, people haven't used Game Pass the way that people expect it. The interesting thing would be if Game Pass actually had a physical option, like the American service GameFly, where you could actually just like a subscription where the newest, brand newest, top of the line games, you could pull everything together. You could rent, say, 5 to 10 games, but you're also getting games day one, where you could pre-order it through a Game Pass like service. What is? Oh, there we go. I completely forgot about the whole glyphs. Oh shit! Now I've got to walk all the way back. So, Game Pass as a service has grown little bits here and there, and then fallen away. Obviously, price and costing and everything else has become a larger issue. And oh yeah, there's the skills. Not that, not that. That's okay. So that's that, and oh, okay, cool. Um, the Avengers picked up a shotgun. When using it, oh, special weapons. Scroll through these special weapons when found. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, but I can go to my standard shotgun. All right. So let's go back to this thing about the edges. The element I see as a bigger issue for Sony is that in terms of business, I absolutely understand why they would be going fully digital. It makes absolute sense. But the moment that you want to take something away from your consumer, you have to it's kind of a two-stage. Oh my god. Let's delete that one. New save game. I still love it. It lists that it's actually got blocks. The 8 GB drive had blocks. Isn't that awesome? The town just thinks it's right, justify, deny everything. Send at least 5 innocents back to help fix the train. Shotgun time. Yeah. If you're going to sell taking something away from a customer, the first and most key thing is that you want your customers to feel as if what you're taking away is being replaced with something better, something grander. Because if you're taking away and going, okay, we're taking this choice away from you, but instead, we are going to do X and Y and Z for you. Oh, and we saved a person. It's always the case in games. Like, it's no, you've just saved somebody who is beating on me, who just looks like a zombie. Maybe I should. So, like, consider it in a manner of this way. The original Xbox One approach was that all games would have a digital aspect, that they would have the keys, and that you would, if you purchased a copy of the game, you would buy the physical game, you'd put it into your console, that game would get copied to your console, and you would then go, okay, that that disc is now tied to your digital library. So you would be able to play it without the disc. Oh. Oh, now I remember why this fucking weapon sucks. Fuck it, axe. The idea would be you purchase the physical game. It would go onto your account. You would be able to play the game without the disc. But that disc would not work for somebody else to install or play. But you would, over time, initially, I'd have to ask Jez about this. I'm definitely certain he probably has something on it. That the original idea would be, let's try this machine gun. That the idea was going to be that you would then have the ability to digitally lend or share your games to your friends from your account. So if I bought a copy of Halo 5 for Xbox One, the idea being is that I could buy a copy of the game physical. When I installed it, it would tie the copy of the game to my digital profile, and that if I lent the game to my friend, like I gave him the disc, he could install the game, but he would then have to buy his own copy. If I logged into his device, he could play it as the secondary player on my account. But it would then, I believe, and this is what I'll have to check. I really need to sit down and interview Jez, because there's a whole bunch of stuff like this that I'd really love to ask him. That I believe it was that you would be able to then kind of lend the game to your friends. So it would deactivate the game on your account and it would activate on their account. So they would be able to play the game that you own and you've lent it out to them for, say, 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, whatever it was. But you would be required to be online, obviously, to make sure that, like, they would have to sign in online for them to be able to access the game and, you know, use it. And that's where the whole, oh no, can't be online. Who's going to be online? What if you're on a submarine? Now, obviously, there we go, Coda. Sorry, the pups are here, and I'm getting dog snoot in the thigh. Yes, my young fluffy children want me. Thank you very much, Qualified. Because all I'm hearing off to the side is the sound of like dog fluffy tip taps on the wooden floorboards. Thank you for the heads up. So the idea of that initial point of, for Sony, or at least for Xbox, they went, okay, people don't want this, we're stepping back from it. The initial idea from memory was that they were going to they were going to explain all of the systems to it further because it hadn't been fully fleshed out. And none of the executives completely understood what it was they were doing because they were building everything in situ. Because shockingly enough, much like video games consoles and video games in general, not everything is known when you announce something. You're still working on some shit. So you don't have everything worked out. You're winging it. And everybody wings it every once in a while. Maybe I shouldn't have done that and hit the exploding... You know, fuel's expensive this day. Why are you blowing? Shit, Jesus. Even the fucking cars are blowing up. So Xbox basically walked back the entirety of their decisions, which is understandable. The entire video gaming market just basically tore them apart. Oh no! 3 lives remain. I'm stuck in the middle of all of you cunts. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Little singing interlude. The biggest pushback that obviously occurred is what set the market to this idea of, well, okay, we can't remove people's accessibility, or Jesus Christ, my dude exploded like a it's like those dudes from Serious Sam where they just run at you screaming, ah, except their heads on spider legs. They probably belong in a Silent Hill game, if we're being honest. The market kind of spoke very voraciously. I believe that's the right word. They spoke at length, loudly, and Xbox has been eating the shit sandwich of those decisions to go, we're going all digital, since 2013. So it is 11 years now. Oh, sorry, it is 14 years now. 2013, 14, 15, 13 years since that. But it is still the defining factor about how people see video games and what is right and what is correct when it comes to video games in today's culture. Is that while digital can be it can be a very easy way to be able to get your games. You don't have to go down to the stores. You're not like, you can just get copies, you know, get a copy of the game and work, you know, pick it up on your way home. You're not limited to the idea of, oh, I have to go to the store. I have to pick up this copy. It creates a little girl being chased that went past the prison. Oh, okay then. Do I really want to go into prison? Oh, god damn it. Fucking exploding spider heads. The market made their point, and it's surprising that in the in the year of our Lord 2026, Sony decided that they would push back and go, no, we need to make this route. Now, it is pretty fucking obvious why. They want to make more money per user. And absolutely, they need to make more money. Everybody gets it. Went past the prison. So how am I meant to get... All right. Nope, we're just going to... Don't shoot the zombies, shoot the fucking windows. Yeah, that sounds great, dude. It almost feels a bit like... the comment was made by Qualified Wombats, I think yesterday, that it feels like a return to the arrogant Sony. That there is current reporting by some media out there that Sony have put down an edict that is, we're not going to talk to the consumers. Like, we need to stop talking to all of them, and we need to stop that sort of communication being our driving point to the fans. We don't need to speak to the fans. We need to speak to ourselves. Like, they will come to us because we are the platform. Now, the last time that as an edict or a behavior occurred was in 2006, and it was the announcement and belief that the PlayStation 3 was worth $599 US dollars, and that it would be a honor to work extra hours to make the money to buy this more expensive console. Now, Kaz Hirai, as you know, as legendary as he is, he made that that comment and statement, and he ate a shit sandwich for it. And Sony lost almost, it is reported, and the great book by David Chippy, The Race to a New Games Console, the reality for the production of those chips was that Sony was losing almost $300 per console at those expensive costs. $599 US, it was costing them $899 US for those models in the US, because the cell chips, as amazing as they were, they did not have a great yield. So the yield is obviously like when you're making chips, you do it in a big wafer, and the yield is how many good chips you get out of it compared to bad chips. High yield means that nearly everything you make on it is a viable chip, and you put it in a console and it works. Bad yield is that you've made an entire wafer of chips, and out of 200, you've got maybe 50. That's 25% yield. And that is terrible. And initial reports are that the cell chips, while having a high yield, involved so much additional time and cost in pulling together everything, and it took a long time to make them, because it was all new processes that were trying. It involved memory on chip. It involved a lot of complication when it came to production. That, yeah, it just costs a lot of money. So this almost feels very much like a very arrogant Sony. We're not going to talk to you. You're going to come to us because we are the platform. You've got a catalog of titles on our platform, and you're not going to give them up. And I would agree generally, except back in 2013, when the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One came out, there was no backwards compatibility planned. So there was no backwards compatible plans for either consoles. Damn it. Dead again. 2 lives remain. Shit. Oh. Seems there's some gargoyles as well. So every copy of a game that they were selling, every console that they were selling, these were all new titles that everybody was buying. For the PlayStation 5, obviously they announced it, went, yeah, it's backwards compatible. You can play your PlayStation 4 games. It'll be easy done. Like just... Sorry, I'm trying to... Okay. I'm trying to get this. Why won't you let me use this edge skill? There it is. Flaming axe. There we go. The key thing about 2020 was that people were like, nah, fuck Xbox. They still, you know, the memories of 2013 existed and are not easy to pull to the side and just have people forget. So the backwards compatibility option kind of takes a little bit of a sting out of it, because if you really consider it, what's the difference today for Xbox when compared to PlayStation if you were to look at, oh, I'm going to change console? Game Pass is on Xbox. There is hundreds upon hundreds of first-party titles, all available in that subscription straight away for you to use, that you'd have immediate access to with a single purchase of a subscription. So it's no longer a case of going, oh, I'd have to rebuy all of my games. Most of the games that people are playing between platforms now are forever games. They are games that you can either play free to play, so it's your Fortnites, your Rocket Leagues, your Destinies for how long it's here. But these are games that require no outlay from you to get into them. Minecraft, very cheap, you know, easily rebuyable, but it's on all of those platforms. But then for a new user going, no, like, I want to look at the other platforms. Right now on, even on Steam, yes, if you buy a PC, you could probably get a fantastic rate for a lot of Steam games because Steam sales are fantastic. But you have to buy a PC, and in a world where the RAM costs are high, it's hard to justify that straight up cost. But you could get yourself a secondhand Xbox Series S or X and go, oh, okay, I'm going to go with this. What about games? Oh, I don't want to spend too much on games. You get a Game Pass subscription and you've got all of your titles available to you pretty quickly and easily. That is the difference that exists now in today's worlds, that it is no longer a immediate or restrictive element, but it's about accessibility to the player. Right now, if you were to take away the disc games and go, a PlayStation 6 will not have a disc drive, we will not be making games on discs anymore, you're taking a choice away from the consumer while not replacing that loss with a gain. Now, in my opinion, if Sony had just come out and gone, we are stopping disc production in 2028, it is unfortunate. We need to, you know, costs are that we're looking at it and going, we're going to remove that. So we are stopping disc production. What we are going to do is, if you buy a digital copy of this, of a game from PlayStation, from our store, if there is a PC version of the game, we will give you a code for it. So say it's Helldivers 3 and it comes out on PC and PlayStation. It should be a case of you buy it on PlayStation, you get a PC copy. You buy it on PC, you get a PlayStation copy. If they're making a handheld, which is what is being reported, it should be like, from 2028, with any new hardware that we release, you buy a copy on PlayStation digital and it will play on all PlayStation devices. One purchase, every form of PlayStation hardware. That's an easy way to be able to go, okay, we're taking something away, but here's what we're giving you. And that would have taken the source completely out of the issue or the rage that seems to be coming forward. But to not have something like that pulled together in a straight line basis manner of, oh, well, we could do this. Not having the answer to those questions ready when you start talking about it or even hinting at it, to take something away from a user and not have an answer ready for what you're giving in return. Because it could even be as simple as you go, oh, we're taking away physical copies, but with that, the savings that we will make in just digital games, we are changing the MSRP for all of our titles to go from $69.95 to $59.95. We are going to charge you $10 less per game. We are going to spread the wealth around. But they're not, because they want that money. But they do not want to spend more money on giving you, the consumer, something. It's the weirdest element about the risk that comes with not being prepared for your communication. And I'm the first person to say that Microsoft are not fantastic at communicating clearly or concisely. It has been an issue that they've had for years. When they've got good news to communicate, they're pretty forthright, straightforward, and people appreciate the candor. 3 lives remaining. Oh, I'm actually earning more lives. That's good. But to come out and go, we're taking something away from you, and this is what we're going to do, which is we're not doing anything for you. This is so that we can make more money. And no matter how you want to present it, even though casual gamers are casual gamers, they may not be in the know of everything that's happening in video gaming. They can tell when you're fucking with them. The source is inside this prison. Then let me in. Why would you not just let me in? Penitentiary has been sealed up. Okay. The source is inside this prison. So if you're not going to let me do something there. Huh. 408 kills. 5 innocents out with the train repair. Okay, I've done that. Character stats. Not much. Oh, wow. It feels weird to be playing such an old game and just being like, I remember when this game came out and being like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing. Taking away from a consumer makes them feel less valued. It makes them go, well, what do I get from it? You get nothing. It's now digital. Do I then own my digital copy in a sense of I can play it on all of these platforms? No. Is there a way for me to be able to continue to play my disc copies of games? No. You would only be able to play those disc games on a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5 that has a disc drive. Right. It kind of falls into this area where it can feel like it's pedantic to worry about, oh, why worry about physical? Everybody's buying digital. Yes, everybody's buying digital, but it is always about consumer choice. The choice for any consumer is that they can go down to a store, buy a copy of a game, or buy a physical copy of a game as a collector's edition where they're like, oh, I want the map, I want this, I want that, these things matter to me. Those things cannot be covered by, oh, a digital special edition. Jesus Christ. A digital special edition just gives you all of this stuff that you can only access on your console. So it ties all of these things to your account, and like, would you prefer to have, okay, I bought a copy of this game and I've got a copy of the soundtrack that I can listen to on my iPod, or do I have to turn on my PlayStation every time I want to listen to this this OST for this game? Why would you be turning on your PlayStation to listen to the OST for a video game when you would expect that, okay, it's OST for the video game, they give me a digital copy, I can listen to it whenever I want, or look at this art book. And we've got a first-time chatter here, Eastern Cornet Gibberish, AI viewers, streamerboo.com. You, good sir, are copying the spam button. So we're going to kill that zombie, and we are going to take you, and you are going to be banned. Ta-ta. I wondered how long it would take for a spam thing to drop in here. Didn't seem to take that long. Took about an hour 40. I'll give them that. Normally they're a whole lot quicker. As soon as, like, in the first 10 minutes, they'd jump in and be like, look at my porn. So, Oh, there's the train station. There we go. Ashcroft train station. Turn around and get to work. Didn't you say you wanted me to send people to the train? That's right. 2000s video game logic. We're just going to go find places and press the, just walk along the walls of every location and just keep pressing the A button until something happens. So Ashcroft Cinema. Does this? Nope. What about this? Nope. So I absolutely respect and understand the pushback. It is justified, and I think, unfortunately, as much as I would love to watch Sony capitulate and go, okay, we get it, you want physical, we will, you know, then like they're not gonna stop shutting down their DADC disc manufacturing location. Like, it is obvious that they can make more money from optical lens production than they can from Blu-ray production. What will happen, though, is that because DADC aren't around anymore, you've got Sonophone and all of these other DVD manufacturers out there. They are now at a position where the biggest creator of discs in the market, like Sony DADC did all shitloads of DVDs. Like, they are the guys. The main producers for a lot of physical copies of games. But now Sonophone and all of these smaller manufacturers are going to be able to go, okay, these guys are now gone, but we're still making stuff. So how about you place your orders on us? We're still making discs. We can still do this work for you. So physical copies will still be capable of being manufactured. And there is going to be someone there to make these things. So physical copies could still be made. But Sony is saying, okay, but we're not being part of it. But you've got an external disk drive attachment that you developed and released for the PlayStation 5 digital. You could still go that route. And even if you're going to charge people $150 a disk drive, that's fine. You can do that, because the people who want a physical disk drive and physical discs, physical copies, if it is just a case of they're allowed to continue purchasing, if they're allowed their choice, even if there is a slight potential cost increase, they will reward that, because it is about respecting their choice. So I think there is a possibility that Sony could step back, less of a, we're just going to save over the top. Elementary school nearby. Kaylee might be hiding there. You'll have to clear out a lot of monsters if you expect the girl to show up. Because no girl shows up if there's ever monsters around. Or not, at least from what Tumblr's told me. There's a particular type of person who shows up whenever there's monsters around. Strange, weird people. So, back on topic of chopping zombies. So right now, I don't know. Like, I feel bad. The poor dude's in Germany. And there's a heat wave there. Like, I wish I could ask Jez more about like the positron stuff. There's actually an article that he did some time ago, which was talking about the Xbox disc to digital system. That if you put a copy of the game into a console, you would be able to then apply the copy of that game and the unique identifier in that game code to your account. So once you've put it into your console, if somebody else were to take your copy of your game and put it in their console, it would disable it from your console. and then would be capable of going, oh, okay, and you've got the disc here, you've put it in the console, this person can play this game. So there is those options and possibilities. I can imagine that Sony don't have anything like that currently in the works, and that it could be potentially a big outlay of development cost. Or how do you, like, if you don't have unique identifiers in your game discs to be able to go that yes, this is a legitimate copy of this game, or that this is a system that we're able to verify and use to release these games, that could be a problem for doing a digital system for Sony. That maybe it's just that the kind of ghosts of the Xbox One era DRM could potentially be a good savior. But I think it all depends on how Sony navigates their next steps. If it is a, we're going to be quiet and fuck the user, there is always the risk of Wolverine comes out for PlayStation and people don't care, they just play it. GTA 6 comes out, nobody, like, people forget the fuck Sony element. There's always the risk of any sort of like pushback on any corporation running out of steam. Like, we've all seen it. Like, you know, there's been whole bunches of boycotts. Like, I still remember the greatest one in, I think it was 2008, 2010, 2012. Whenever Modern Warfare 2 came out, the decision was made by the developer, which was Infinity Ward, that they were not doing dedicated servers. They were doing peer-to-peer user connection for multiplayer games. And the PC crowd was adamant. No, has to be dedicated servers. Hold on. Oh, no, they're saying they don't want me. All right. I killed all the zombies, though. So the kid should be here, right? Or is there still zombies around? Okay. Infinity Ward went, no, we're doing peer-to-peer. So there were large boycotts saying, do not buy Modern Warfare 2. It is, you know, how dare they remove our dedicated servers? We should be able to have dedicated servers. It's better experience. It's this, it's that. Okay. It's saying to check, get rid of the monsters and find the girl. All right, I'm trying to do that. And you've said, I've gotten rid of the monsters. So where is the girl? Oh, now you're finally... No, you're not letting me go. Great. So, where is the girl? You have hidden the girl from me. The girl is not a shotgun. Maybe she's in this bus? No? Okay, so you've hidden... Oh, wait, more monsters. Oh. Oh, right. Boss time. Early 2000s. Oh, that's right. That's why I hated this boss. The spider heads. And everything else. Okay. So if arrogant Sony is going to arrogant Sony, and there is no possible way that this is going to change, and the boycott methods where the original point I was going to make was that the boycott Modern Warfare 2 group on Steam had hundreds upon hundreds of people. When Modern Warfare 2 came out on Steam, the people who said we're not going to buy Modern Warfare 2 until they promise and guarantee that there is going to be dedicated servers, every single one of them was shown in their Steam group to all be playing Modern Warfare 2 and sitting in the multiplayer lobby. So they didn't hold to their word. They were like, "Oh no, we're not gonna let them get away with this. We're gonna hold back our money. We're gonna show them with our wallets." And they didn't. Not in any way, shape, or form, because while the idea of the while the idea of those boycotts work, here in a relative comparative term, it's been listed that, okay, say 500,000 people stopped subscribing to PSN. 500,000 people is probably a good chunk of money, but a lot of the people who are subscribing and canceling their connection to PSN are people who would have more time built into their PlayStation Network subscription. So these are not the people who would be paying month by month. They would be the people who are specifically going, "Oh, I bought 6 cards, so I'm paid up until 2028. Them canceling their subscription still means that they have paid for the service in advance to Sony all the way through. Them canceling their subscription merely only goes, okay, we don't have a we don't have a credit card that we're approved to charge for when their subscription runs out in 2028. Oh, mercy me, whatever shall we do?" Like, it's not really a problem, because, like, they're just going to look at it and go, well, who cares? Like, they've already paid us for all these years of their of PlayStation Plus in advance. It doesn't matter. Like, they've already paid us the money and we're still providing the service. It would be different if everyone was still on a month-to-month subscription for PlayStation Plus. If it was 500,000 people who pay for it month by month and not using the cheaper rates of, oh, if I buy it 6 months at a time, or I buy these cards, then it would be noticeable on on a spreadsheet a month from now, 2 months from now, because they go, oh my God, like, our PlayStation Plus subscriber numbers have dropped and the amount of revenue we're making from it for this month has dropped surprisingly quickly. We need to do something about it. That isn't what's going to happen. They're going to go, oh, well, yeah, we've had people stop subscribing, but these people are still using our platform. They're still using our service. And as such, they're just going to go, oh, well, that doesn't matter. We've still got their money. We've still got everything that they've paid to us in advance. Hello, Evie. And we've got one of the kittens here. Hello, Evie. Are you going to walk across? Yeah, you're going to walk across my dead. Okay, and I think... Oh, no. Last life. Rush him. Yeah, there we go. Boss killed. Terribly terrible looking massive flesh. so, so just quick, shoot the girl. And this is the what the wow. This I forgot how terrible the dialogue is in this. It's also weird to kind of go back to a period of time where games that were positioned and put uh as kind of like AA or AAA titles. There was a time when VO wasn't a consistent, always like top tier VO um blur cinematics and everything else. It's surprising to actually look at it and go, this is how it used to be. And they keep talking. Well, they're monologuing, but they're monologuing without a voice. Also, Kaylee looks like the textures and elements. There's no detail to the face, so it's just kind of like this blank lit element, and it looks like somebody's just kind of like grabbed the clay sculpting for her face and just kind of like drawn it out a bit, like something out of a Tim Burton film. Immediately and violently evacuated back to the other side. Okay, you know what? We're not here for the story. Oh, God. That's right. I've got to walk her all the fucking way back to the church. Do I have to? Yeah, I found the girl, so... Oh, okay, there it is. Oh my God, I cannot... if I have to walk this kid all the way back and save her from the zombies, this is going to... It's like, okay, putting it to Sony, being like, hey, you know, don't let anything happen to that little girl. Keep a close eye on her health bar. Fuck no. We are not doing that tonight. So we will switch back to this. But as you saw there, you can stick a Xbox OG game into your Series X and just play it. And that is honestly where Sony should be going. It's like people are going to push, and to anybody out there who's pushing for it and just going, no, we deserve physical or we deserve better digital rights, you're absolutely right. I am a digital person myself, even though I've got these physical copies of games and a massive retro collection behind me here. And a lot of copies of games for 360, PS3, original Xbox, SNES games, Mega Drive games, Saturn games, Dreamcast games. I like that ownership aspect. I prefer the convenience of digital, but I specifically go with digital platforms where there is the tied element of, if I buy it, then I can play it wherever I want. So in the future, once I've got everything set up properly, it will be the case of going, okay, I've bought this on Xbox. I can play the PC version. I can play the Xbox version. I can play it on my ROG Ally. I can play it on my PC. I can play it on my console. That is everything I like about it. If I buy a copy, I can play it all of these places. Sony needs to step forward and offer something in that manner that creates the value for what they're doing. If they want to go all digital, they need to make it worthwhile. Don't stop until they give you exactly what you are asking for, which should be that there is a confirmation and an element of your rights going forward. So we'll pretty much call it there because we've just hit over the 2 hour mark. And yeah, it interesting like little run through. Um, and yeah, thank you. I'll have to reach out and say thank you because Jez's article went live as I went live, so I was able to roll through it. And yeah, it seems to be like okay, this id Studio was pulled back to around um the the core team numbers that they had when Doom 2016 shipped. So bringing it back, um, bringing it back to that level, and then being able to pull the team together and focus and work on what they're going to do next without 150, 160, 180 additional staff members who are all going to be looking at you and going, "What are we doing?" While you're still trying to work out, your gray boxing stuff. You don't have enough people to be able to create 10 different prototypes at one time or go, oh, pit people against one another. That's also not a great way to run a studio. Um, it sucks for the element of how people are looking at all of this. Layoffs suck. But with a bit of context, they're not going anywhere. But all you do is you hope and go, okay, hopefully in the future, it'd go, okay, we know what we're doing and this is what we're going to do. And then they'll be out there hiring those people back or maybe even better people. And they'll have something for the future. But they're not going anywhere. And that's the most important thing. So we're going to be finishing up there. Thank you to everybody who popped in. Thank you to Michigan, Qualified Wombats, for reminding me that the dogs needed my attention while they're booping me in the leg. Probably not going to be streaming it over the weekend unless anything interesting happens. But, at the same time, who knows? May just do it for the shits and giggles. But we will catch you. Oh, I will catch anyone who's watching the next stream.